Hey there, everybody. So I haven't been gone for a little bit, but decided to throw up a video based off of a Teysa deck for EDH. But if you'll notice, there aren't any cards here right now. That's because I wanted to try something different. A lot of people have different ways they build their EDH decks, and it's definitely changes when you pour it onto Modo or Magic the Gathering Online. So I thought I would show what I do when I build a deck personally. Now, I don't know if you're interested in this. This is probably going to be long-winded. It's going to take a while, and it's going to be monotonous more than likely. So I'm going to throw up a regular deck also. But this is going to be like the extended version, 4-hour long with director's commentary and silly subtitles about how the cameraman decided to fall down and everyone laughed and had a good time after the party. That kind of one. So let's go with the themes I want to build around this general and how I intend to do it. So we have Teysa Orzhov Scion. She's a white and a black for a 2/3, and she's a human advisor. No one really cares. She's showing cleavage. So, sacrifice 3 white creatures to exile target creature. Seems good. Whenever another black creature you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So when I first see this card, 2 things come to mind. First, how can I make as many black creature tokens as possible? And 2, how can I exploit this ability to my best abilities? Into my best efforts. So when I see something like this, immediately the one thing that hits me is sacrifice. So I'm going to look at my collection. There's stuff in here. Let's see what happens when I tap in sacrifice, and let's see what comes up. Boom. Alright. So things I want to go with. I want to be able to sacrifice my creatures for benefit, but at the same time, being able to have opponent sacrifice creatures gets around generals such as Earl the Miststalker or other, not aggro generals, but things you want to do. So the first definite include is Abyssal Gatekeeper. For 1 in a black, it's a 1/1. Put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. He is fantastic. So then, let's see what else we got. Anowon the Ruin Sage. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player sacrifices a non-vampire creature. I like it. He's definitely going to go into a maybe pile. This is how I personally do it. Ashling is actually really interesting. She forces your opponent to sacrifice a creature, but she's not actually something I want to do in this deck. At least, not right now. Whenever I see Bloodspeaker, I always want to make the demon deck. This deck, sadly, isn't a demon deck. We'll have to look somewhere else. But Butcher of Malakir, whenever Butcher or another creature controlled put a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. This is a great card. This is definitely going in. Now let's look at a card like Bone Splinters. For 1 black, as an additional cost, sacrifice a creature, destroy target creature. I don't particularly like this card too much. It's a really heavy cost, and I just don't feel like it does what we want to do with this deck, so I don't think I'm going to put it in. But a card like Bone Shredder I think is perfect. Bone Shredder, when it hits the battlefield, it kills a guy, but then when it dies, we stick around. So I think we're going to have a theme of 1/8/7 creatures or enter the battlefield effect creatures and try and go from there. Now I'm looking at a card like Call to the Grave, and I'm thinking maybe I should do a zombie theme in this deck. But as of right now, I don't see enough cards as of yet in order to build this theme. So I'm just going to leave that as an idea for later. I'm not too sure yet. Death Pit Offering was a card I picked up once I picked up Teysa, which I think is a really cool idea. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Doesn't sound like the best thing, but then creatures you control get +2/+2. So here is my reasoning for putting this into the deck. Let's say I have a large amount of black creatures out, and I have Teysa out. When I put Death Pit Offering onto the battlefield, I'm going to sack all my black creatures. They're going to come back as 1/1 white, 1/1 3/3 flyers. I think that's kind of good. Also, you can drop it onto your own empty board, and it's a super glorious anthem. I'm a fan. Now, we actually pass Animate Dead up here. I'm not sure if we're going to go Reanimator. And by Reanimator, I just mean a Reanimate theme. If we are, we're definitely going to look at both Dance the Dead and Animate Dead as good cards to use in that situation. But as of right now, I don't think it's going to be the greatest. Now remember, this is whenever another black creature you can control is put into a graveyard. So neither of these say non-token. which is great because you can just sacrifice black tokens. But Doom Necromancer is actually going to be perfect for what we want to do. It puts a guy into the graveyard, so we get a 1/1 white creature token, and we can just start beating face. Now, Endrick Sar Master Breeder. So glad I got to stop on this guy. I've always loved him with Devourer creatures. He's great in a Jund deck, but he's also great because he makes X 1/1 black throw creature tokens, and it's perfect. He even sacrifices himself when you do too well. Fleshblack Marauder is another in a long line of just sacrificing creatures. Perfect for the deck. Let's see what else is in here. We have cards like Gatekeeper of Malakir. I'm not too sure how much. This card is great one-on-one. Is it great multiplayer? I'm not too sure. I don't think he's going to make the cut. Neither would that card. Grave Pact is obviously in, even though it's in the horrible art. It's just, we can put it directly under Teysa. It's just happening. Karmic Guide, get on in here. Let's do this the correct way. Knight Captain of Eos was a card I was speculating on because it makes white soldier tokens, which we really want black creature tokens, but white creature tokens can get there, and so I think it's definitely going to come in. Actually, did we pass Breeding Pit? Right, these put 0/1 black thralls in play. Get on in here. Let's do it. Alright. It That Betrays, it's not something I really want to put in. It's just costs too much mana, to be honest. So we have Martyr's Bond. This is a card that came out in Commander. I popped the 4 tickets on it. I haven't personally purchased any of the straight Commander decks. I've just been purchasing singles from them. So I think it's great for 4 white. It's a rare enchantment. Whenever Martyr's Bond or another non-land permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a permanent that shares a card type with it. It just does what it does, but it does it beautifully. Memory Jar is a great card. I don't think it's going to fit in this deck too well. Life Chisel is really interesting, but sadly it's an upkeep trigger, so it's definitely not coming in. Marsh Flitter is, though. It gives us 2 black goblins, and we can sacrifice them at will, which is perfect. So get on in here. We're going to put Necromancy with the Animate Deads and the Dance of the Deads. Now, Necrotic Plague is a really interesting card, actually. It's a really slow wrath, but at the same time, we want to be sacrificing our creatures, and it's going to let us choose what we want, and with a little bit of politicking, we can get this card on the right cards. So I think this is probably going to make the cut. Let's see what else we got here. We can try and play the Obliterator, but I don't think that's a great idea. I would actually rather play a card like Fraction Defiler. Again, this is going to get a black creature into our graveyard, and on top of that, kill it over the creature and make a spirit. All of these are perfect things for this deck. Phyrexian Tower is going to make it in, but I do the non-basic lands at the end. That card is just awesome. Let's see what else we got coming up here. Sheoldred can come in, but not the stupid art one, the good art one. I know that sounds weird, but that's just how it works. Again, 1/8/7 creature, Shriekmaw. The evoke cost is a sacrifice cost, so if we want, we can evoke Shriekmaw and still get a token out of him and kill a creature. Now, Skeletal Vampire is an amazing card. It's going to be perfect in this deck because we can just start sacrificing bats immediately, get 1/1s, and just generate a bunch of card advantage with this card, and it's perfect with Teysa. So, just a quick read through for 4 black. It's a 3/3 flyer. Enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 black bats into play. 3 in a black, sacrifice a bat. Put 2 more bats into play. It's just ridiculous. And then you can at will sacrifice bats, which is perfect. Definitely get in there. Over here with Martyr's Bond. You guys are perfect. So Spawning Pit. Sacrifice a creature, put a charge counter on Spawning Pit. Remove 2 to put a colorless Spawn artifact creature token into play. I'm not too sure how much I'm planning on playing this card, so I'm definitely going to put it over here. But I like the ability that I can, for without a cost, sacrifice a creature. I think that's a great ability to have. Stronghold Assassin, sack a creature, destroy target non-black creature. This guy is just great to have around. He's really annoying and people don't give him enough attention. Strange Knight is a card I've talked about before, I believe. If not, I definitely want to go over it again. It's an amazing card. If you're not running it, you're doing something wrong. I'm just going to be flat out honest, especially if you're mono black. For 2 black, you can For 2 black, it's an enchantment. For black, pay 2 life, sack a swamp, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Nothing like into your hand. It just goes straight into the battlefield. I really love this card. It's definitely coming in. So let's see what else we got here. We've got Hex Mage. I'm not too sure. I think I would rather have... Definitely going to put in the World Queller. Definitely going to put in Zhao Dun. Let's think. How much do we want Wink Shards? It's usually not as good as we want it to be. I'm debating whether or not putting in Viserys here. He seems like a good card. Again, free sacrificing seems great in this deck, but in the end, I don't really want to put him in yet. So right now we have 28 cards that are just specifically for a sacrifice theme, which is great. Again, we want to have about 38 lands to 42 cards. So we're more than halfway there already. And then once I put in tokens, or token, we're going to get there a little bit faster. Alright, Twilight Drover. I'm so glad we get to start on this card. Whenever a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Twilight Drover. These guys are best friends. 2 and a white, remove a +1/+1 counter from him, put 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Perfect match. Now, Timely Reinforcements came out in M12. If I have less life than any opponent, I can gain 6 life, and I could put 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield. And exile a creature? Seems good to me, too. That card has just been bonkers. Spectral Possession coming in. Springjack Shepherd. I don't know how much I'm going to have Chroma available. Sengir Aristocrat. Autocrat, though, seems kind of good. I get a bunch of black serve tokens. That seems like fun. Let's see what else is in. Shrine of Loyal Legions, I'm wondering about. Like, I know I'm not going to be playing a lot of black-white cards. I mean, a lot of white cards, just spells. But the card advantage from this one, oof, it's intense. It's definitely going to go in the maybe pile with Animate Dead, Necromancy, and Dance of the Dead. Cards like Raise the Alarm are just too one-shot for me to really like. I've just never been a fan of them. Plague of Vermin could be good, but then we just get blown up by a Wrath Effect. Nested Ghoul, I feel, is the same way. I don't really have a way to abuse it, so I don't really want to use it. That accidentally rhymed. Necromancer's Covenant. Enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard, then put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield for each card exiled this way. Zombies you control have lifelink. No. Sorry. I looked at it. It looked pretty. It was black and white, but instead we're just going to put in Martial Coup because they're white soldier tokens, and we can slap down Teysa and just start exiling dudes. Just 1, 2, 1, 2. It's going to be beautiful. So Lab Rats is an odd card. I like it late game, but just doesn't do enough for me. I do love it though because of the art. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but the art legitimately has a rat in a wheelchair on it. Do you know how? It's just so sad. It's in a wheelchair. I've learned to stop playing Luminarch Ascension. This is personal opinion, but when you play Luminarch Ascension, people kill you fast. Like, really fast. I'm good without playing it, but I do want to play Mimic Fat. We're going to try and find some more 187 creatures like Shriek Maw and... Where did you go? There he is, Bone Shredder. It lets us keep up in card advantage, and they're just amazing cards by themselves. Grixis Slave Driver, I think, is a good idea, but he's going to go in the maybe pile. Hero Blade Hold makes white soldier creature tokens, so with Teysa out, slap her down on turn 4, we can just start getting in there with tokens. I don't have Bitter Blossom, I just don't own that card. I'm not going to try and buy it. Amiria Angel comes in. Cloud Goat Ranger comes in. Conqueror's Pledge comes in. Captain of the Watch doesn't come in. I caught you there. And then, how is Bone Horde going to do? I'm not too sure. Alright, so we're at 39 cards. This includes these cards that are still on the fence about. So what do we do from here? As of right now, I know there's some cards that I still want to put in here. So just really quickly, I'm just going to type in black so that we can get, looking for Darkest Hour. 1 second. Where are you? Darkest Hour. For 1 black mana, all creatures are black. Take a second and realize how powerful that card is in this deck. I understand. I'll wait. Alright, do you get it yet? Whenever another black creature you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token flying onto the battlefield. And if you sacrifice 3 white creatures, you get to exile a creature. If all of them are black, I agree we should automatically put that in the deck. I should stop acting like an asshole and pretending that you didn't already know that right when I put it up. Alright, so there are other cards I do want to put in to this deck. The thing is, I don't know them off the top of my head. So this is my first time building the deck. I'm not taking any cheats out of it. So this is what I do in my next step. I just quickly go over cards. There's cards I do want to play. I don't know if I have a Pernicious Deed. Let's check. That's not the right card. Grumble, grumble. It's from Ravnica. It's amazing. We'll see it immediately. So right now, again, I'm just showing you exactly what I do. Archon of Justice. It seems like a great card in this deck. I love the card. It's amazing. I can't speak of it highly enough. We still have to pick up a Sorin when we pass him. I just got it out of an M12 draft. I sold my old one from Zendikar when it was still worth money. Now it's not. I'm debating on Avatar of Woe. A lot of people love this card. I just could never get behind it. It never did enough for me to the point where I felt like it should be in every single black deck ever. I don't feel like it does enough. And that's a problem with me in EDH decks, because every single card has to fit a role, especially with the amount of cards that are out nowadays. It's just, if you don't do anything, why are you in the deck? There's no reason for you to be here. Granted, I do play cute cards. Like, I'm not saying I don't. I would never declare that. I think that'd just be a dick move. I'm really re-examining this Call to the Grave again. I'm going to put that over here. I think it's a pretty cool card. Carnifex Demon? No. Chainer Dementia Master actually is a pretty decent card. If I wasn't making a white-black, I would make a mono-black deck, but I was suggested by someone else not to do that, so I'm not going to. Right now, any EDH game you go into, like about a year ago, at least every other deck, seriously, was mono-black. So Coffin Queen is an amazing card. You get to exile creatures out of people's graveyards, and she's just perfect. And we're going to be killing so many creatures, guys. So many creatures that it's just going to be perfect. So Condemn comes in just because I like tucking generals. I think it's a really good way to get rid of a general, is just to put it at the bottom of someone's deck. You get to forget about it forever, which is perfect. So this would be part of the maybe we want to go Reanimator idea with Corpse Connoisseur. It's an amazing card. I could see it, but I don't think this is the right deck for that. There's a lot of other decks that would love that kind of thing. So I think we're going to re-examine that now, and we're going to just go through the reanimation spells we have currently and just take another look at them. Grixis Slave Driver isn't going to make it. Dance of the Dead in a graveyard, right? One of these only targets your own graveyard. Alright, this one is only your graveyard, so we're going to take Dance of the Dead and Animate Dead, because I don't want to be limited. Shrine, I think, is still staying in as of right now. That could, again, go Either way, Debtor's Knell. Get in here. I've never seen a card that just legitimately says, I will win. That's all it says. It just says, I will win. There's not a question after that. There's no question mark. It's a statement. You put down Debtor's Knell, and it survives. You will win. Drana is amazing and limited. Not too sure about her in EDH. We're going to take the Shrine out for right now, and we're going to convert a mana cost. We're at 42. Again, we want 38 lands, so we want about 62 cards. So we're looking for another 20 to get in here. Just going to look through. Duplicant is a fabulous card. I rarely play without it, just because it's so amazing. Again, it's another 187 creature. I think it's coming in. You can make an argument to put Elish Norn in the deck, but I'm not going to be the one to make that argument. I guess we do have a token theme, so we're going to go for it. Enslave could be good, but we're not going to do that. Let's see what else we have here. Again, you can see the random soldier theme cards from when I put up the red-white soldier deck. I don't like playing cards like Gauntlet of Power or Cage Sun in decks that don't specifically have one, that aren't monocolored. I feel like it really loses a lot of power. We're going to put Geth in for right now. I also don't like targeted removal. You'll see cards that go for the throat. I don't put them in. This deck especially is going to rely heavily on just being amazing. We're going to put in Graveborn Muse because that card is amazing. Generates card advantage. That's how I like to build my decks. I like to generate card advantage, and at the end of the game I still have 7 cards in my hand and you have 2. And I won because of it. These are the decks I like to make, and I feel like they're the most effective in winning games. Identity Crisis. If you play this card against me, I don't even know why I have it. It's so evil. I must have been drafting a Lara block and just randomly got it. So, it exiles all cards from target player's hand in all graveyards and graveyard. I haven't found a card that felt like a bigger beating than having Identity Crisis cast against you, especially earlier than turn 6. It's like you're playing EDH and you're having fun and everyone's like, oh yeah, let's play EDH. Then all of a sudden someone Identity Crisis you? It's like you're getting thumped in the chest. No, I'm good. Well, this doesn't feel like a card deck. For each creature put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn. So he puts Deserters into play. I can't tell you how awesome the art for a Deserter is. It's just amazing. It's this guy walking along a sandy beach with a sword behind him because he's deserting the home guard. It was such a great idea. That's one of the best things about MTGO by far, is the fact that you actually get to see the art on the tokens. I love that so much. So Life's Finale seems like a cool idea, but Lifeline seems like a better one. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, if another creature is on the battlefield, return the first card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. It's so confusing. Could this be the card for that? Because I'm going to be exiling creatures. At the same time, this is going to cause creatures to go to my graveyard. This might be the Lifeline deck. This is the Lifeline deck. If we're playing Lifeline, we have to be able to kill it. Core Sanctifiers comes in. Because that card can get away from you guys. Let's see what else we have. Are we going to play Greaves? I think we are going to play Greaves just because I want to protect my Teysa. She's coming up to be a really big figure point of the deck. This is definitely a top-down design on this deck, I have to admit. Let's see what else we got here. I don't want to go Mangara. I don't want to quote unquote get there with like Mangara and something else. That just Marshall's Anthem is a cool idea, but the amount of land we have to get there is just too much. I feel like it's a waste unless you kick it twice. That's my personal opinion. You can have others. Go for it. I love Miri the Cursed. This is not the deck for Moat, sadly. I've always wanted to play this. Haven't had the chance yet. Let's see what else we got here. Necrotic Ooze? No. Not Necrologia. Necrotol. Get in my pile. Nezumi Grave Robber. Get in my pile. What else we got here? We got a Revenant. No. Okay. Phyrexian Arena obviously comes in. The card is too good not to include. Cards like Phyrexian Rager, I'm considering. Again, it comes into play and it does something and then ends up dying, which is great. So he's coming in preemptively right now. Praetor's Graphs comes in because that card is awesome. And they're playing artifacts. Profane Command, as of right now, comes in. Probably not going to make the cut. Let's see what else we got here. Puppeteer Click comes in. Card's awesome. Again, might not make the cut though. Alright, we're at R. We're almost there, guys. Reaver Demon. This card costs 8 mana. 8 mana is a lot of mana. I'm never gonna get to 8 mana. Return to Dust comes in because that card is amazing. Runescar Demon comes in because that card is fun. Let's see what else we got here. We're getting close to the end. Sangromancer. Whenever a creature an opponent controls put into a graveyard, you may gain 3. Discards a card, you may gain 3. It's not going to do it for this deck. Sheoldred's already in the deck. We're getting low on choices. Shrine of Loyal Legions might make the cut at this point. We still got to get Skinrender in. Skeletal Scrying comes in because I love card draw. Skull Clamp comes in. Oh god. Let's see what else we got here. Soul Ring comes in because it's Soul Ring. When they included it in all the Commander products is when I was just like, screw it. Every deck needs Soul Ring. So Sorin Markov comes in. Should Sorin's Vengeance come in? Should it? If I was making a vampire themed deck, it would come in 2 seconds. This is not a vampire themed deck. Sadly. Alright, we're almost there. We're not making this equipment based. Subversion. This card is surprisingly good, but it's not going to make the cut. Sun Titan will, though. Do I have a regular looking Sun Titan? No. Sunblessed Angel? Nope. Do I want any of the swords? I love putting Sword of Fire and Ice into everything, but it seems like a cop-out. Swords might come in. Swords to Plowshares, of course. Tendrils of Corruption is very tempting, but I don't think it's going to make it. We could put in Time Vault Voltaic. Haha. No, we can't. Unmake. It's got to come in. The Hatchling is down here, which is really the card I'm trying to get to. Vicious Hatchling. Light black one. I love playing the Hatchlings in white black decks. Or in any deck. Foil Vengeful Pharaoh. Get in my pile. That card is awesome. I love it. There it is. Voracious. It's got lifelink. It's a 6/6 for 4. It just really helps on just screwing with people's combat math. They don't know whether or not to block. They're just confused after a while. We get to make cats with white Sun Zenith. What can go wrong? We can make worm coil engines. This deck is seeming amazing. Alright. We got him in. So, we're going to go to lands. But in the meantime, we're going to look at our deck. We have 71 cards, and we have to cut some of them. We have a lot of removal already, so Swords isn't going to make the cut. Oh, wait. We need some Swift Boots. Have I not drafted a single Swiftfoot Boots? That is depressing. I'm a horrible person. Alright, let's go one by one. This Nezumi Graveyarder, it's not going to make it. Let's take out the Animate Deads and the Dance from the Deads. Spawning Pit's going to stay in just because it's great against Wraths. They Wrath, you go, sack all my guys. Well, actually, in this deck, if they Wrath and you have Teysa out, you're happy because you get to keep all your cards. So, we're going to keep that. Right now, we're at 33 cards. We need more lands than that. I don't think Martial Coup is going to make it. Although playing a large Martial Coup and then following up with Teysa seems really good as a control lockdown. I guess we'll keep it in. Elish Norn stays. Geth, no, stays. Stays. We're going to take out Duplicate. Lifeline is staying in because I just want to try it out. Call to the Grave comes out. Anawan, it's not going to do it for me. Skin Render, Sengir Autocrat. It makes Surf tokens. I have to see what they look like. The Defiler. That's going to come out. And then I think this card is going to require too much of a get there idea. Like, you're going to need to have to really get there in order to make it work correctly. So it's also coming out. So this is what we have. This is our deck. Almost. We got to put some lands in, of course. I have a large amount of non-basic lands. They have to be put into the deck somewhere, right? So do we have any artifacts that are dying? Maybe Shrine? I could return a Shrine of Loyal Legions with that card. Let's see what else. We have Command Towers. They're perfect in every single way. Caracas. This is really good against opposing legendary creatures, which is why I think it's banned. That's not coming in. Outpost makes creatures, which is perfect. Phyrexian Tower is going to sacrifice some of our creatures, which again, perfection. Maze of Ith is too amazing not to put in. That was a pun. I'm that good. Reliquary Tower comes in. Cycling Lands come in. Strip Mine comes in. Thawing Glaciers comes in. Tech Edge comes in. And then we're going to go Marsh, Meadow, Heights. Alright. So, how I figure out my lands. I use the magic of MTGO, of course. We're going to look at the stats. Looks like we are 43-64. So we have a 2-3 split on lands. That's incorrect. Four to 6 would be, yeah, that'd be a 2 to 3 split. I'm not right. And we're putting in 25 lands. A 2-3 split on 24 lands would be 16-8, 16-9. That doesn't seem right. I think we might just go halvesies on the lands. I kind of want all my lands available at once, and a lot of my low costs aren't going to cost anything at all. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And so now I'm going to show you one of my favorite things and the only MTGO quote-unquote hack I know of. and that is to make all your lands into John Avon lands. Well, I made my Zendikar lands into John Avon lands. I love John Avon. I follow him on Twitter. He's amazing. He makes amazing art. And this is a Zendikar Plains that now has the art from John Avon in the background. Tom, how do you do this? Well, what you do is you go into your program files, into Wizard of the Coast, and then you go into Picks, and then you go into here. I'll just do it right now. We're gonna go into Life and Llamas. Let's see if this breaks my computer. It shouldn't. Alright. Program files. Oh, went the wrong way. Computer. HP. Program files. Wizard of the Coast. Magic Online 3. Oh, look at that. Alright. Then you're going to go into Data. Nope, not Data. You're going to go into Graphics. Alright. So I don't want to load it up right now. But Cards, Picks, P-I-C-S. This has all of the art for all the cards. Boom, they're right in front of me. What you can do in order to, let's say, change the art of a card to a different art of a card is you take this number here, and that's the reference number for the card here. So all you do is, let's say you want the art for your Hornet Queen to the art for Adaptive Automaton. You just switch the numbers, and then every Hornet Queen you have is going to have the art for Adaptive Automaton, and vice versa. All I did was the thing is, it's not word ordered, so you have to legitimately find the art. Usually it's done by date, so you can easily find it just by finding the set that the card is in. As far as the John Avon lands, I didn't actually search for them. I found how big the dimensions are. You see how the dimensions here is 256 by 188. I literally went to John Avon's site, plucked the art out of the site, and then created the dimensions to the point where I could switch it for the art for Zendikar land. I found the Zendikar land with the greatest amount that I had the greatest amount of. It was this one, which I don't remember what the picture actually looks like, but it wasn't that great. And then now they're all plains, which is perfect. So we're going to add 12 of these and 13 of some swamps. Look at how beautiful those are. By 13 I mean 12. They're 37 lands. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so this was the long form, very long form version of making a Teysa deck, from picking the general, finding out what we want with her, and finding the cards to go into it, to adding the lands, to even changing the art on any of your cards. And this was it. If you liked this idea, if you like this walkthrough, this process, let me know in the comments. I'm not asking you to comment just because I want like extra hits. You can't even make money off of MTGO videos because it's owned by Wizard of the Coast, and they'll sue you or something like that. I'm not too sure. That's not defamation. They're an awesome company. It's just I'm not trying to make money. I just legitimately want to know if this is content you want, because this took me as long as it takes me to make a deck, and explaining it while making it is kind of hard to do. Yeah, so if you like this idea, again, let me know in the comments. If not, if you're like, Tom, stop being stupid and doing this, no one cares about what you're thinking when you're making the deck, again, let me know so I can stop doing this. That would also be nice. So, at the end of the day, this is the long version of making the Teysa deck. I am going to eventually throw up a small version of the Teysa deck, of the Teysa deck tech, in a little bit, but I haven't even played this deck yet. Again, I just made it. Let's see how it does, guys. If you want to, you can follow us on Twitter at MTG Radio. That's myself. And if you have any questions, you can email us at edhradio@gmail.com. We'd be happy to hear from you. So, for MTG Radio, this has been Tom, and thanks for tuning in.